What began as just another ride request in Berlin would become the most devastating night of Klaus Müller-Hess's life. The 42-year-old Uber driver thought he was simply picking up another passenger at the infamous Motel Bavaria on the outskirts of the German capital. He had no idea that in less than 10 minutes, his entire world would crumble before his eyes. Klaus had been driving for Uber for 3 years, ever since his construction job ended and money became tight at home. His wife, Sarah, had been understanding that night shifts were necessary to support the family. Or so he thought. The irony of what was about to happen would haunt him forever, because the very job he had taken to support his family was about to reveal the most painful betrayal imaginable. It was 11:30 on a chilly October Thursday when Klaus's phone buzzed with a ride request. The pickup location showed Motel Bavaria, a place he'd driven to many times before. These late-night motel searches were routine for him, usually drunk tourists or business travelers needing a discreet ride back to the city's center. The rate was good, and Klaus needed every euro he could get. As he pulled into the motel's dimly lit parking lot, Klaus noticed something that made his blood run cold. There, parked in the shadows near room 14, was a car that looked exactly like his neighbor's silver BMW. But that couldn't be right. His neighbor Marcus was supposedly on a business trip to Munich. Klaus shook his head, convincing himself it was just another similar car. After all, silver BMWs were common in Berlin. The ride request listed the passenger's name simply as S.M., and Klaus waited patiently in his Honda Civic, engine idling, as he always did. Most passengers took a few minutes to exit these establishments, often needing time to compose themselves or say their goodbyes. But something felt different this time. There was an energy in the air Klaus couldn't quite place, a tension that made his stomach churn with inexplicable anxiety. Then the motel room door opened, and Klaus's entire world instantly collapsed. His wife, Sarah, emerged. Her brown hair disheveled, her lipstick smeared, straightening her coat with trembling hands. But she wasn't alone. Behind her emerged Marcus, Klaus's neighbor and supposed friend, the man with whom he'd shared countless beers during weekend barbecues, the same man who had comforted Klaus during difficult financial times and praised him for working so hard to provide for his family. Klaus felt his heart skip a beat. Time seemed to freeze as he watched his wife of 15 years walk toward their car, completely unaware that her husband was sitting behind the wheel. Sarah was looking down at her phone, probably checking to make sure she called the right ride, while Marcus kissed her goodbye and whispered something in her ear that made her smile in a way Klaus hadn't seen in months. Realization hit Klaus like a freight train. The nightly book club meetings Sarah had been attending. The new lingerie he'd found in her drawer that she claimed was a gift from her sister. The way she'd been taking longer showers and guarding her phone with unusual secrecy. The business trips Marcus had been taking that seemed to coincide with Sarah's mysterious absences from home. It all made perfect, devastating sense now. As Sarah approached the passenger door, Klaus made a decision that would change everything. Instead of leaving or confronting her immediately, he stood perfectly still and waited. He wanted to see how far this deception would go. Would his wife of 15 years really sit in his car, look him in the eye, and pretend nothing had happened? Sarah opened the door and slid into the back seat, still staring at her phone. "Good evening," she said without looking up. "I need to go to Friedrichshain, the apartment complex on Warschauer Street." Her voice was casual, normal, as if she hadn't just betrayed everything her marriage stood for. Klaus adjusted his rearview mirror so he could see his wife's face clearly. "Sarah," he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. The phone slipped from Sarah's hands and clattered to the floor of the car. Her face went completely white when she finally looked up and met her husband's eyes in the mirror. Recognition, horror, and the immediate understanding of what had just happened flashed across her features like a slow-motion film. "Klaus, I can explain," she stammered, but the words sounded hollow even to her own ears. "How do you explain being caught leaving a motel with your neighbor while your husband unwittingly waits to take you home?" Instead of shouting or demanding answers, Klaus simply put the car in drive and began heading toward their house. The silence in the Honda Civic was deafening. Sarah sat frozen in the back seat, tears streaming down her face, as Klaus drove with mechanical precision through the empty streets of Berlin. Neither of them spoke during the entire 20-minute drive. But here's where this story takes an unexpected turn that no one saw coming. When they arrived at his house, Klaus didn't storm in or kick Sarah out. Instead, he turned off the engine and said something that would surprise everyone involved, including Sarah herself. "I've known for 2 months," Klaus admitted, his voice eerily calm. "I hired a private investigator when I started getting suspicious. I have photos, hotel receipts, phone records, everything I need for the divorce proceedings I started 3 weeks ago." Sarah's world fell apart even more than Klaus's had earlier that night. She realized that while she thought she was being clever and secretive, her husband had been 10 steps ahead of her the whole time. But Klaus wasn't finished. "The reason I kept driving for Uber these past few weeks wasn't because we needed the money anymore. I got my construction job back a month ago. I kept driving because I hoped to catch you just like this. I wanted incontrovertible proof, and I wanted you to experience the same shock and betrayal I felt when I first found out the divorce proceedings were swift and decisive." Klaus kept the house, the car, and most of their shared assets. Sarah moved in with Marcus, but their relationship couldn't survive the guilt and public humiliation of how their affair had been exposed. Within 6 months, they had broken up. And both left Berlin completely. Klaus continued to drive for Uber occasionally, but now it was by choice rather than necessity. He said in later interviews that the experience taught him that sometimes the most devastating moments in our lives can also be the most liberating. The night that destroyed his marriage finally freed him from a relationship built on lies and gave him the closure he needed to move on. Today, Klaus is remarried to a wonderful woman he met through mutual friends, and he's never been happier. He still tells this story to other drivers as a reminder that life has a strange way of revealing the truth when we least expect it. If this incredible story of betrayal and unexpected justice resonated with you, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable real-life stories that prove truth really is stranger than fiction. What would you have done if you were in Klaus's situation? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads.